Welcome to Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart, along with Daniel Matalon, who is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. How are you, man? What's going on?
Doing well.
Got a great guest that you have been dear friends with for a really long time.
He is a phenomenal human being, and I smile and laugh every time I see him. So, yes.
And I thought that too. I did think that.
He's a great guy.
I thought that.
Yeah, he's good.
Up until the moment you told me.
I know.
The moment you told me.
Then there was that.
Then there was that got brought up. And I got to tell you, I question everything moving forward now that I know you're an Alabama fan. Roll Tide.
There it is.
Isn't that what makes college football so great, though?
Great.
Oh, my gosh, it's so much fun.
So much drama.
So much fun.
Yep.
Attorney Scott Smith is the founder and principal of the W. Scott Smith PC firm in Atlanta. Been recognized as one of the best criminal defense attorneys in the state, has expertise in violent crimes and drug-related cases. Down-to-earth approach is how he handles everything, compassionate demeanor, and is applauded by his clients and peers alike. Incredible win record, like Alabama. Is able to win trial cases and consistent recommendation from satisfied clients to drive this meteoric growth in his firm called Peach State Lawyer. And you can go there to the website, peachstatelawyer.com, singular. Unless you're my mama, you put an S on it and everything. But it's peachstatelawyer.singular.com is the website. Has built a firm with 7 lawyers who've been recognized as some of the top trial lawyers in the entire Southeast, not just in Atlanta, Georgia. Man, how are you today, Scott?
Man, I'm doing great. Appreciate that shout out. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's good to be among somebody that's really, really good at what they do. Obviously, Daniel's really, really good at what he does too, and I try to be pretty good. I don't pull it off very often, but being able to be around people that are really good, it's encouraging to me. There's so much going on in this world. It seems like the world's gone crazy. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you pay attention to the news, you're like, what are we doing?
All the time.
All the time.
Every night.
Yep.
I've gotten to the point, Daniel, I don't know about you, but I've gotten to the point where I just don't turn on the news. And it's crazy because I do a news program
Right.
Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
6 to 10 a.m. here on Extra 106.3, and
tough.
I refuse to watch the news because I know I'm going to get some just horrible story, and I don't know anything about it. I just know it's going to be bad, and I try to avoid it. Are you able to do that as a lawyer, or do you have to stay more dialed in?
So I enjoy watching the news. First thing in the morning, I'll watch the 6 a.m. news. I'll listen to the news on the radio and just get the feel for what's going on, what the vibe is. But it seems like there's a lot of overlap between the stories, a lot of consistency, shooting, death, destruction, mayhem, all of that. But I do enjoy listening and watching to the news just to see, what happened this past weekend, for example. But for me, there's certainly a separation between what I do at the office versus what I do at home. But I'm certainly cognizant of the fact that crime exists and how it exists. I drive an EV car, and I always joke with people. I say, listen, you're not going to find me at a gas station in the middle of the night, getting robbed because I'm plugging my car in, right?
That's right.
And so,
now, if you pull in there and you got to stay for an hour to charge it up, then you're in bad shape.
That's exactly. Yeah. Lock the car, get in the Cybertruck.
With my big old pickup truck, man, I can fill up quick, and if I see somebody coming, I've only got $1.50. That's enough to get me to the next gas station.
That's right. That's right. So, but the simple fact is, I think the studies say, 70% of serious violent crimes occur at a gas station. That's an insane number.
Is that real?
Yes. Well, that's what they say.
I'm not surprised by that. I was at a gas station in D.C. yesterday. I had to fill up my rental car, and let me tell you, the whole middle was boarded up where you would normally pay. So it was only pay at the pump.
Yeah, so my next 2 trials both happen in DeKalb County at gas stations, middle of the day, shooting cases, right?
Oh, middle of the day?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know why that's surprising.
No better time.
Daylight, yes. And, can you imagine just being a tourist getting in at Atlanta Jackson Hartsfield Airport and realizing your rental car does not have any gas, and you pull into this gas station, and all of a sudden there's a shootout.
And there's boarded up windows. Like, I've come to a war zone.
It's a funny story for you is that, we're out there. We're out there just investigating. That's what you do. If you're a great trial lawyer, you go to the scene. always go to the scene, even if it's a DUI case. Go to where the stop happened just to see the topography of the land. So my investigator and I, we go out to the Chevron gas station there in DeKalb, and we're standing there, and there's a full-on girl-on-girl fist fight. And it's 11 a.m.
Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.
Oh, my God.
But the simple fact is, that's part and parcel of life. I mean, they're trying to do, obviously, a good job of trying to use AI or using the trying to figure out where the trends are in the crime and going to these locations and creating greater police presence. And I'm sure you probably have heard this, but they're now requiring gas stations to have video recording going.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, and it makes sense. But that's part and parcel of where we're at, and that's why I drive an EV.
Yeah, get out there quick, because those things are like 0 to 60. That's like Corvette speed.
You actually have me reconsidering right now, actually. and I had never considered, but I am now.
Maybe today.
After that.
And this podcast is sponsored by Elon Musk
and Tesla, or Hyundai's new Iconic, or whatever it's
Never
called.
thought about it that way, but now I am.
I will tell you, the Rivian does look nice.
Great.
Oh, it
job.
is.
Nice.
Yeah, no,
They look
I've
nice.
seen them. Yeah,
they look really good. There's
good.
not been one that stood out to me that I'm like,
I haven't ridden in one.
Oh, nor have I.
I haven't been inside
they look
one,
good.
but I've seen them.
Man,
They look really
they
cool.
just came out with the new Scouts.
I saw
Dude, I saw it. Those, dude, it's like the old the Scout SUVs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I've seen those,
As
yeah.
much as I like the Bronco, the Scout's like times a million.
Let's go.
Dude, that thing is awesome.
I agree.
So awesome. So you bring up AI.
Yeah,
AI is influencing everything.
everything.
Maybe it makes us dumber. I don't know. But there is that part of AI that is, and Daniel brought it up with the doctors being able to use AI to scan things that they, that would take an average person a million years to do, and they do it in an instant. Now there's the drawback. Do you lose some of your fastball because you're relying on technology to do it for? There's all kinds of great conversations that can be had about that. But the AI that worries me are those, because I love dogs. But the artificial dog with the AI dog with the machine gun on his back. Have you seen that thing?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm quite ready. I don't know if I'm quite ready for the dog with the machine gun on his back.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean that's where AI seems like it could go wrong. Where does it go right in your field?
It goes right on having the ability to transcribe video, audio recordings very quickly, like instantaneously, right? Has the ability to search through video at this juncture, where you can ask it to follow a person on the video and you have hours upon hours of video. But you also have the ability to have like a second eye on the case in sense of you can literally plug in your entire case file and say, let's talk about my defenses. What do you think about this? And it will give you feedback on that. I read every single case that comes out of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals, every single one. And if there's a lawyer listening to this, that's where I would start, right? That's just raw, basic knowledge, and you always learn something from reading the Court of Appeals or Supreme Court opinion. Even if you knew it, it reinforces what you knew. But it has the ability to take all these opinions and then synthesize them into one discussion. And you could literally drive around in your car, and you can listen to these opinions or somebody discussing these opinions. And so I think not only does it give you raw knowledge and not only backs you up and confirms some of the things or it might even jog something in your mind that says, oh, I didn't think about that. I think that's where lawyers are going. That's where the law is going. Certainly if you talk about a contracts lawyer or you talk about a wills lawyer, they're not going to exist in 5 years, right? In my estimation, in the sense that, you'll still have complex issues that probably need to be sorted out, but plug in and say, here's who I am, here's my family. They already have this to where you spit out a will for me. The same goes for divorce, probably. That's where we're headed. But as far as criminal defense goes, you always have a need for a trial lawyer, always somebody to stand up in front of the court. But I think it also gives you some comfort in just having somebody feeding back information that is easier to disseminate, and it's quick. And in most cases, it's pretty accurate. Now, would I have it write my own briefs? Absolutely not. Would I have it do legal research? Absolutely not. I mean, there's too many flaws in the system right now.
A lot of businesses are pulling back a little bit because of the errors that you're talking about. I read an article in Business Insider that talked about that exact thing, where companies have relied so heavily on AI so quick. They're like, wow, maybe we went out over our skis a little bit, and we're having to dial it back in. Have you seen any of that?
I agree. That's been my experience too. It's just, I mean, look, yes, is it good? I mean, we're going there. Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you don't get on board, I think you're probably going to be doing yourself an injustice. But we'll see.
And or the people
find
that
out later
have
on,
hired you doing an injustice, which ultimately hurts you.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not. I agree with Scott. It's just not. I'm still we're still doing our own stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we have to. That's the smart way to do it.
So but it's a good tool.
Augmenting it,
it's
not
a good
taking
tool,
it over.
But you got to teach it. That's the thing. You got to teach it.
So here's where I think it's becoming interesting, and we're seeing this already in Fulton County, is that judges are being given information, right, on a person, for example, that's up for bond. And they're plugging in information to tell your likeliness of appearing in court when directed to do so. So you're taking out the judge's, discretion and his opinion as to whether or not you're likely to appear by just staring at you and saying, "Oh, that looks like a good candidate," versus plugging in all the information. Have you had a criminal case? How old are you? What do you do for work? Your ties to the community, as Daniel and I know really well.
Which then it takes it so it's like a robot arrests you. Robot takes you to jail. You don't need the bonds. You don't need the court. You don't need. You don't need. I don't know. I mean, we can take this thing as far as, you can go all the way down the line with it, right?
Well, we'll stop here. We'll pause just for a second for a break because I want to come back and talk to you about the role of the criminal defense system. But also, do you have to be an expert in AI? Because you talked about teaching it, Daniel, and you talked about using it. Are you the expert? Do you have to hire an expert for the office? What is the most logical and most sensible way of proceeding in this world of AI that we're not escaping? That is next here on Extra 106.3 and Justice Unfiltered. Our guest, Scott Smith, the founder and principal of the W. Scott Smith PC law firm. You can find him at Peach State Lawyer, singular, peachstatelawyer.com. We'll continue next with Daniel Matalon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered with Daniel Matalon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. My name is Tug Coward, along with attorney W. Scott Smith. That's the fancy way of saying your name, man.
That's right. Woodrow is the given name, so I go by Scott.
But I like it, though. Yeah. If I walked into your office and it's W. Scott Smith, I'm like, this guy's got it together. This guy's a lawyer. It sounds like a lawyer to me.
Well, the funny thing is there's a Judge Scott Smith here, and he has a first initial as well, and he's up there in Bartow.
Okay.
And every once in a while, I'll get somebody to call looking for him. And, obviously I need to tell him, I'm not the judge. I'm the attorney.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot of us. You throw a rock and hit a Scott Smith.
Yeah, it's a common name like that, but not a W. Scott Smith.
That's right.
That's the way you differentiate yourself. Well, that, and obviously, building a firm that you have here in town that is second to none, peachstatelawyer.com, singular, peachstatelawyer.com. And if you're on social media, which at this point, who isn't, other than my wife, she's not on any social media, you can find him on Instagram at Peach State Lawyers, same as the website. So easy to find and easy to catch up with. So let's talk about, because we were talking about in that last segment, AI. Let's talk about how you use it. I mean, you've explained a little bit, but did you have to become the expert, or have you hired a person that is an expert in AI? Because it seems like you would need, that seems like it would be an additional job.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, so I did learn on my own. I am a member of a group out of Florida, Trial Lawyers Association, that they had two different CLEs on AI, and they talked about the different tools that are available to lawyers. And so I started just downloading them and plugging them in. Notebook LM, which everybody's probably heard of at this point, but basically, it creates an audio podcast of your material and your written material. So you plug it all in, and then it gives it back to you. And so you could drive around and listen to literally your case and reinforce your case. And, it's things like that I probably would not have known about had I not been a member of this organization and listened to it. But I think it's self-exploration. There's so much out there right now.
But that seems like it would make it that much more difficult to narrow it down. Like, what do I use? Do I use ChatGPT? Do I use Grok? What do I use?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I think it's trial and error. I think you have to figure it out yourself. I don't think that there is. Maybe it's a cottage industry that will come up and say, hey, do you want to create this? But, now they have literally AI answering the phone call, and they're interacting with
the
you.
worst.
And
It's
it
the
is
worst.
the worst.
My doctor's office does it.
I agree.
My doctor's office does it.
Person.
No,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's so slow. I mean, it's like a tick off, and it's like you're like,
That's the worst.
brother, you gotta get there. Zero. Operator.
Holding the zero down.
Hey, let me give a shout out, to A Second Chance, because they've got people that literally work at 4 a.m. in the morning on a Wednesday morning, and your client just got arrested, and it's a famous rapper, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, call A Second Chance. And they get a live person. I mean,
Which is so rare.
It's so rare. I don't know how much they're paying their people, but
you are not enough. You will not have AI voices at A Second Chance, until they force me to do it.
Well,
okay,
no,
but I'm telling you, we're rolling. But
I'm like, Michelle, what are you doing up at 4 in the morning? I mean, come on.
talking to you.
Daniel drugged me in here. I didn't have any other choice.
Trust me, I answer my phone in the middle of the night too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, the whole team over there, they're so good about it. I mean, that's why we exclusively use them. They're just so good to us and our clients, and answering the phone at 2 in the morning. And that's something special. So, yes, don't give that up, please.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm with you, though.
There's so many reasons for that. Right? Just the fact that you have somebody that can give you actual information, not broken, not delayed.
Because even in what we do, and this goes back to this whole conversation of the value of these situations, there's certain little things that happen in these cases that, okay, fine, AI eventually will figure it out, but you have to deal with it hands-on, in the flesh, IRL, like standing there.
Human touch.
You can't do the computers. No one's a bot can't do that.
Human touch is a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the differentiator. If you ask me, moving into the future,
Yeah.
who's willing to give it the human touch?
Yeah.
Whether it's answering the phone, or whether
Right.
it's addressing
Right.
something with a client that's sitting in front of you. Who's willing to take the time? Or pay someone,
because it's going to happen.
Because
it's just a matter of what,
right.
who's going to get there.
That's
right.
right.
Who will get there first?
That's right, and that's going to be, in my opinion, that's going to be the biggest differentiator of companies. It doesn't matter if you're an HVAC company, or you're a bail bond company, or you're a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Who's going to give me the human touch? Because that will never be replicated. Can you get AI to read a brief and explain it back to you and pare it down so you can pick it up in your car? Yes, it's wonderful for that. But the step further that's going to separate you will be the human touch.
But what if it misses the important? I mean, like, because you said you read them all, right?
Yep.
So because what if it misses the most important part, the most compelling part of your argument as a lawyer?
It's gone.
And you go into court and you're like,
well, but that's why
what are you talking about? And it's like, no, it was in there.
Well, we've had several lawyers in Georgia who have been severely sanctioned over using AI to draft their briefs. And we now have a judge who I know you love, and I'll go ahead and say his name because he's a great judge, is Judge Schwall in Fulton County.
Yeah.
He has an order that says, if you're going to use AI to draft and file anything in my courtroom in Fulton County, you're going to have to put in a clause that you used AI and acknowledge that you used AI and so that you have read it independently yourself.
And what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's expected. I mean, like, look, you're not paying me to have AI create my brief, so yeah, I understand that 100,000%. So there's limitations to it. There's
But
the
that's back to
humanity aspect.
human touch. The judge is asking for.
Oh, of course. And your reaction. Look, I mean, let's quantify it. How many times has Daniel Matalon spoken on the phone with a crying mom?
I bet more than you can count.
I mean, he's laughing because he knows the numbers in the thousands.
It's laughing because it's
astronomical.
But it's sad also because there's a need for it. There's a need for it.
So the point is, an arrest happens, the mom's freaking out, the mom's crying. Yeah. How is an AI bot going to console mama?
It's not going to. It's not going to. And even if it's trained to,
because I can't. Okay,
right.
And so like if I can't do it, or if human, it's a tough.
It's one of those things where.
But there are a lot of things that it will.
It
checks all the boxes and it passes all the tests.
We all agree with that
right out the gate, right? Just certain things will. Right.
Well, so I appreciate that. There was an article this morning in the New York Times, and it was of a kid that died of sepsis. What happened was he was at school in New York City, went to Mount Sinai or wherever he went, I forget the hospital, but he went in there. They were checking off all the boxes. The questions that they asked, the doctor asked when you initially come in and says, does your toe hurt? Does your ear have any pain to it, or whatever it is? They go through the checkbox, and the nurse went through the checkbox. The doctor went through the checkbox, and it came up with a warning that said sepsis, and it was a brand new doctor. And what they should have done was immediately, gone through the protocol of having sepsis shock or whatever it was, and instead they sent him home because they couldn't figure out the warning, and so they X'd out of it. So there was a program that was telling them, hey, go through these questionnaires. If it checks the boxes, you have to jump into this protocol. And they X'd out. They acknowledged they X'd out of it because they couldn't figure out the program, and it was a brand new doctor. And that exists, right? Think about it. A checkbox that goes through for doctors, and they do it on every doctor visit to go through it to try to find your ailments and try to find the serious ones that need attention. And I think that the numbers were like something like 200,000 people go to an emergency room, and they could have survived and they wind up dying. But I can see a moment in time where criminal defense lawyers do get an AI checkbox. And it's like, have you looked at the language of this indictment? Have you looked at, talk to this witness? Have you thought about this course of action? I think there are checklists that can come out of this that are easy to design and easy to create. And I think we're on the cusp of that. And it's already in the medical field. But I think we're getting there. As far as criminal defense goes, creating a checkbox. It's still not going to take away the humanity of things. It's not going to take away the courtroom presence, your ability to speak to people, look people in the eye, pick a good jury, to be able to communicate your client's case and get your client acquitted. I mean, all of that's going to always require a human presence.
And that's why I ask about the expert, needing that in the office, that can take a look at what we're doing and how best to implement it without damaging the important touch points that you bring up.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the next step, and not just probably in your office or Daniel's office, but every office.
Yeah.
They're going to have somebody there. It's almost like social media
a
little bit now. Social media used to be such a throwaway. Like, oh, we're going to post a picture of us, handing out backpacks at a school or whatever it is. And that's fine. But now social media is so integrated in things that we do every day that has become an actual job. People have social media jobs. 10 years ago, people would have laughed at that notion. Now it may be the most important position in your office.
Yeah. 30 years ago, people would be awestruck if we try to explain people profiting off social media.
Yeah, nobody would have believed it.
They wouldn't understand it.
No, we were all fighting for yellow page ads. And
trying to get your name at the top.
Ads, double drug ads in the yellow pages. I mean, remember that?
But it's a bigger discussion than here today. But the truth of the matter is, you got to be cognizant of it, that 30 years ago, this didn't exist.
That's right.
And can you predict 30 years from now? The answer is no.
Right, no.
Yeah.
I don't.
It'd be impossible.
To be honest, I'm afraid of 30 years from now. Have you not seen the documentary Terminator 2?
Could you imagine in 30 years how many national championships Alabama will have?
Good Lord!
I mean, can any
always driving back?
There we go,
buddy. Just stake in the heart. This man is vicious.
He could not contain himself.
Scott Smith is a vicious man.
Yeah, Scott's on the move.
This is how you know you need to hire him as a lawyer, because he will go at the opponent relentlessly, even if the opponent's nice to him.
Well, you are wearing a Georgia jacket, a Georgia hat.
That's right. Yes. I may deserve it. I may deserve it. But let's talk about the role of the criminal defense system, because let's be honest, a lot of people have misconceptions for sure. And then maybe even a little bit of animosity because they see, oh, well, it's just another criminal breaking the law again, and this guy's coming in to help the wrong person.
Animosity until their loved one gets charged.
Right, exactly. Then they're like, man, I sure love you. And roll tide.
Roll tide. Let's go. Whatever it takes.
I need this guy on my side.
The truth of the matter is the system itself is the greatest system on earth.
No question.
I've been lucky enough to travel all over the world. And we are unique in the sense we do have the jury system for criminal cases, and it's a wonderful thing. The jury almost always gets it right in my estimation. And when it comes to criminal defense, what keeps me up at night is the thought and idea of being that one guy that truly didn't do it, and you're sitting in Telfair State Prison. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being that guy?
Oh, I see it and think about it all the time. I mean, I've come across so many lawyers, people. You guys have all worked on so many stuff like what we're talking about, and no, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean so that would be the greatest injustice ever, is have an innocent guy that's in prison right now.
That's the point of our system, right? Innocent until proven guilty. We would rather have somebody who's done it get away than convict someone who hasn't.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it makes sense. It's logical because, we know of atrocities all over the third world and fourth world that basically people are sitting in prison for speaking their mind, First Amendment is something that, I don't think we take for granted, but we have to recognize.
I think we do. I think we do.
I appreciate you saying that because I think you're right.
I think we do. Unfortunately, we do.
Yeah.
There's a reason it was first.
Yeah, there's a reason it was first.
And the things that need to be defended, and people are not going to like that I say this, the things that you despise the most that people are saying is the speech that needs to be defended the most importantly.
Yeah, vigorously.
Vigorously, that's exactly what I was looking for.
I appreciate you saying that. And so that does drive me in part. But let me just pause for a second, just talk about the role of a criminal defense lawyer. Because the truth of the matter is, our job is to zealously advocate for somebody that's been charged. And sometimes it is to obfuscate. Obfuscate, that's a big word.
That's a $2-3 word.
That's
I would never use it.
Bonus.
I couldn't get I still can't get it.
Even we are seeking the truth of our client's story, the truth of what happened, the truth of whether or not the state can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that our client is guilty. And it's the state's burden. But I think that the criminal defense lawyer has done an incredible job, in part, in making society better, in making law enforcement better, right? And then also the integrity of the system is at stake, in the sense that if you have a cousin that you truly believe was found guilty or sent to prison unlawfully, you would have less trust in the system.
Yes.
And so that's where we come in. Listen, the greatest of the great had to defend themselves. Socrates defend himself, had to explain himself. I mean, you think about historically, people that have been charged with crimes and then ultimately exonerated, and it was always a criminal defense lawyer that was standing by their side, not necessarily Socrates, who I think had to defend himself. But, in our society, you have a right to have a lawyer standing by your side and being your mouthpiece. And I think that's special. I think that's awesome. I think it's something that says a lot about our society, that we care for people that are what is identified as committing heinous acts in some instances, or that might have society looking down on them. But we do play a role in that system in making it fair and equal.
It reminds me a little bit, and you can tell me if I'm crazy for thinking this. My grandfather, World War II veteran, in the Pacific during the heat of World War II. I think he was an Army medic stationed aboard a Navy ship, a Navy hospital ship, and they were hit 2, 3, 4 times by kamikazes. And they took those pilots out and gave them an honorable burial at sea, because they respected the fact that they were fighting for their country no different than we were fighting for our country. And it lines up with what you're saying to me.
We buried Osama bin Laden.
That's right.
We gave him a Muslim burial, is my understanding, off the side of a Navy ship. I guarantee you there's no other country in the world that would have done that.
As a guy that served in the Navy, there are 0 other countries that would do that, in my estimation, that I served with anyway.
Yeah, hats off to America. The truth of the matter is I love this country. There's nothing in this world like traveling and going to other countries. And the reason why, when you get home and you walk into Jackson Hartsfield and you smell the hot dogs and you smell the pizza and you just want to get down and kiss the ground.
Yeah.
I love this country. This country has given me everything. I owe it everything. Would I send my kids off to war? I would. And I think part and parcel is you'll never meet a criminal defense lawyer that doesn't love this country and love the policies and loves the Constitution, and we do. I mean, I'm looking over here in the corner. You got this wonderful flag, and it says liberty and justice for all. I believe in that shit.
Stuff. Yeah. Well, we'll clean it up. All right, you're good. Yeah. But it's the truth, and there's no place else on earth. And I went to a lot of them, and you see how fortunate, how blessed, and how people that made that ultimate sacrifice or contributed in any way to making this country what it is, we owe them a debt of gratitude, and we always will. And so when you say those things, I agree with you, man, 100%. And that's the beauty is, I think, when it comes down to politics, which always gets it always messes up a lot of things. If we can agree that the First Amendment is not, there's not anything that is more important than that, we can figure out the rest. We may not always, it may not always line up, but as long as we all agree on that first one, everything else there we can figure out. Yeah. And that's something you probably have to take to the courtroom every time you go.
Every time. I'm a big fan of the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments.
Yeah, no, they're all great.
They're all great. I mean, we got it right. And even if we didn't get it right, we fix it through the court system, and the courts usually get it right. I want people to know that the courts, the jury system works. Jurors usually get it right, not always, but do usually get it right.
Right, and that's not, I mean,
it's because we're flawed, right? Each and every one of us. There's nothing's perfect and nothing's going to be perfect.
It's not, right.
And so when we see it wrong, we correct it, we get it right, and that's so stinking important. Where do you think the criminal justice system is headed? Because social media has changed everything. The media in general has changed everything. Technology, we've talked about AI. Daniel, I know you deal with the changing landscape of life and how information travels, or it doesn't. There's good and bad in both.
Yeah, I think that you're always going to have ebb and flow. If you look through the history of this country, crime, it doesn't say stagnant. And right now they say crime is down, but, statistics are funny things. You can not always trust them. But I think, unfortunately, we will always have crime. But I also think that where are we headed in criminal defense? I think law enforcement is going to continue to get better. I think you're going to have a lot more when it comes to surveillance systems, and that's going to be no question of privacy versus security that we're going to have to mesh out. Right now, we have the ability, every time.
That's big.
Every time you drive a car, and people I'm sure know this, but every time you drive a car, we have systems in Atlanta and metro surrounding counties that are called flock systems, and they photograph every single license plate. And you could basically back it up to see where the license plate comes from. We have the ability to triangulate phones. Sometimes even when phones are not in use, we have the ability to triangulate the phones. We have the ability to see who you're speaking to, how you're speaking to them. And the technology is going to continue to improve on the law enforcement front. I think we're going to start to see, and they already have it in a lot of cities where they have proactive policing in areas where they know and they can predict where crime potentially can happen. But I think as far as where criminal defense is going to be heading, I think we're going to maintain the status quo where, people are becoming more attuned to the idea that just because you've been charged does not mean that you've done it. If I was king and I were to say, how do we minimize crime? It's a sticky topic.
Yeah.
But the simple fact that it's got to start at home.
Sure.
All of
intact
that stuff.
Families.
Intact fam. Oh, yeah. You don't want to disappoint grandma or dad, and that's why you don't do stupid stuff. Those types of things. But I think we're starting to get more attuned to that. I think we're certainly starting to, there's programs out there with really good leaders in the community that are really working hard to make that happen. And I think it's ebb and flow.
Yeah. How does that play in for you, Daniel?
It's very similar to what Scott just said. For us, we just continue to evolve as
the technology allows.
Right, exactly. That's probably been a big strength for us, right? Because we can kind of blend in and kind of we can get as deep in as we want, or as
Because you're in that same situation, no different than Scott.
Yeah.
The fact that
same people,
you've got to give people the opportunity to prove their innocence. Or have the chance to prove their innocence.
Right.
And you do that through the technology, whether monitoring, or first of all, the bail bond to get you out, right? And then the monitoring afterwards. So you can still have a semblance of a normal life if you're able to be out of bond.
Yeah, let me jump in here. I do want to say one thing. It's more of a, just a billboard for where we need to be going as far as pretrial incarceration. I think pretrial incarceration has to be the exception to the rule. Quintessentially. So if you look at Ayala, which is a famous case that we always rely on, the factors for bond, AYALA, it was based upon the American Bar Association rules as far as whether or not somebody should be incarcerated waiting trial. And I think the answer should be no. for the vast majority of people. And we got to do a better job. I know it makes good politics, and the judges are scared too because they're like, look, if I let you out and you commit a heinous crime, it's on me. I lose my job, right? But I think they need to get away from that in the sense that, a person is innocent until proven guilty in this country, and it's the state's burden to prove them guilty, and it's not the defense's job to say I'm innocent, right? You can remain silent and still be found not guilty. But I think that we need to look more closely at, get away from the politics of it all and say, listen, give this person a fighting chance to get out on bond. Because look at pretrial incarceration, what it does to the family, right? You're taking away a source of income potentially if the person is employed. And also, you're also causing the family to be without a dad, in some instances a mom. And I also think it also makes it easier for a lawyer to defend somebody who is out. Because think about the meetings that take place in a jail cell versus at the office. In a jail cell, you can't bring in electronics half the time. You can't show them their file half the time without special permission, and you only have between certain hours to do so. And being in jail kind of sucks.
Well, that and I would imagine if it's a jury trial, the people on the jury are going, this person came from jail or this person came from home.
So in Georgia, what happens is they don't know. The jury doesn't know. They take them. So they wait until the jurors will leave the courtroom, and then they will take them back into the holding cell. But jurors aren't stupid. If they don't see you out in the hallway with your lawyer, and your lawyer's standing there with his briefcase and his trial box.
Reckon where he is, y'all.
Yeah. And why is he wearing the same outfit every day, Yeah. So, they catch on very quickly. And they're like, look, we know he's... And, 99% of the time when I'm in trial, I always bring it out. I say, listen, he's been in custody for 2 years. Yeah. I mean, he's been locked up. So the jury knows that's the reason they don't see him in the hallway.
We will continue the conversation next. This is Justice Unfiltered with Daniel Matalon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. Also, W. Scott Smith. He just goes by Scott. Founder of W. Scott Smith, PC law firm here in Atlanta, next on Extra 106.3. Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Matalon. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. Scott Smith, founder and principal of W. Scott Smith, PC law firm here in Atlanta, is our guest today. And, man, we've talked about so many things where the criminal defense system is headed. We've talked about AI and the impacts of AI and in that field, in Daniel's field at A Second Chance. But that leads me to the question, why do you use Daniel and his team at A Second Chance, Scott?
Yeah, professionalism. It comes down to professionalism. I mean, look, there's nothing that they give us in our firm, right, as far as referring them cases. But the simple fact is, we know it's going to get done. And it just gets done in a professional manner, and they track our clients from the inception. So if I have a client that comes in that knows he has a warrant, my obligation, I have to tell him to turn himself in. So he is going to do so, but on the way to the jail, he's going to stop at one of their locations. And, they have locations all over now, Clayton, DeKalb, Cobb, Fulton, everywhere. And so I send them there. They stop in. They can actually fill out the paperwork themselves. And I say to the client, look, you can pay a cash bond. Wealthy client, you can pay a cash bond. I say, don't do it. You want to have somebody monitoring your release. And I just don't have the bandwidth to do that, especially 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so they're always, they have those relationships built up to where they can ensure that you're expedited in getting out, and you get out in an expedited manner. And that's what we need. So we need the process to go smoothly. Never has not. And so we've known each other for 19 years now. That's a long time. And it gets done. And that's what we needed. That's what we need out, especially, out of the clients that have never been through the process before.
Yeah. How do you make sure that works just like that, because it seems like
because I think about it, if I was in the situation,
sure, yeah.
What is the best version of this look like?
How do I help me the best?
How do I help myself the best?
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Well, I mean, because you never know. I hope not, but you never know.
That's so obvious. Like that makes sense to me. But getting it done is a different story than, hey, this is what I want.
Oh yeah, well, getting it done started for me probably 10 years ago when the real relationship started to develop. I mean, some of these relationships, like Scott, 19 years, and I love Scott. Scott Smith is a phenomenal lawyer, so I'm going to give him his shout out, and just a phenomenal human being, and has been a great friend, colleague, advisor, just someone to bounce. He's been just a great person, and I don't have to see him all the time. I don't see him all the time, actually. That's true.
Well, you're both very busy.
But when I do see him, you pick back up right where you left off, and so just a great person. So
no, it makes perfect sense to me. Why you work together and how that has developed over the years. But there's a lot of competition out there, I would imagine.
There is a lot of competition. I mean, you got to how you separate
in both
yourself.
fields.
How you separate yourself. If you want to know if there's any lawyers or young lawyers listening, how do you get to my level? The answer is simple: be nice to people.
Yeah.
Be good to people.
Yeah.
Treat them like gold.
Yeah.
That's if there's one
the golden rule.
I mean, I should write a book. It should be called "Treat People Like Gold." And it'd be one page long.
Yeah.
Treat people like gold.
Yeah, right.
And I sell millions of copies.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. It's
and I've never seen that not work. I mean, I haven't. If you treat people good, they are more inclined
sometimes
to treat
you're
you well.
left with no choice. But,
Right, of course.
But I mean, yes.
Well, it's like raising kids.
That's like it's like yeah.
There's the moments that you have to make the hard decision that the kid doesn't get the treat today, or the kid gets a spanking today, whatever it is.
Yeah, I struggle with all that, but yeah, it's work in progress.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, if you're walking into the courtroom, the first person that you're going to run into is the bailiff, usually in the courtroom, or the sheriff's deputy if you're in Fulton, and then the next person is going to be the court reporter. If they like you, the jury senses that the people in the audience like you. And when you're making your argument, or you got the officer on cross and you make a good point and they're nodding and smiling, the jury's nodding and smiling with them. And then now all of a sudden they want to invite you to their picnic after the trial, or they want to invite you to their kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of connection that you want. And how to get the connection is you be nice.
Well, but here's the thing, though, Scott. It's easy to pretend to be nice. You have to genuinely be nice.
It's got to be genuine.
Yeah,
people see fake all the time.
See fake all the time. All you have to do is open social media. There is rows and rows and pages of fake.
Shortage.
There's no shortage. Thank you. There's no shortage of fake. All you have to do is be kind, and that's a choice. That's a choice you make. I would imagine at your office, everybody is probably minding their P's and Q's. They're being kind to the people that come in.
Everybody, there's no right way to do any of it. You pick your path. Some people are going to do it one way. But, we do it our way, which is we feel the right way. But it's not the only way.
That's why. But that's why you're successful.
But that's right.
No.
And then there's
Scott, when you do have some time off, which doesn't sound like a lot, what keeps you busy, man?
So I'm fortunate enough to have a mountain house, and I love it. It's a little slice of heaven, truly. And I've got 3 kids that they're all into sports, and I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it's
meritocracy
great.
at its finest.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's fantastic just to see them excel in sports and to be around that. And then other than that, my hobby's my job. I love my job.
Yeah.
I can't believe I get paid to do what I do.
Yeah, and that's why you don't feel like it's work.
It's not work.
And did you go to Alabama?
Yeah, went to Alabama. I was on the 4.5-year plan. And best time of my life.
Better than the 6-year plan, or the 5-year plan even.
So the story goes is I had a friend of mine that was older that went up to Alabama first, and he's a year older than me from hie school, and I grew up in Miami, Florida, and he says
that is the connection.
Yeah,
Miami
for y'all.
connection. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He says, come check out.
Yeah, come to
Rush.
Yeah. Come to Tuscaloosa. You won't.
You will not be disappointed.
You walk up, just like, I have found the promised land.
Yes, the pearly gates are here in T-Town. No.
I have a feeling this is what the next life looks like.
So no, it's a special place. I mean, just like Athens is.
Yeah,
I mean, anytime that you go into one of these big state college towns,
oh my gosh,
this is just glorious.
Yeah,
and,
it's so much fun.
It's supposed to be that way.
Absolutely, so much fun. One day we'll figure out, as a Georgia fan, one day we'll figure out how to beat y'all.
Oh, stop it! You have beat us once.
Oh yeah, exactly. Once. that record is that's flimsy, man. It's a flimsy record. I swear, as much as as great as I think Kirby is, man, he sees that Alabama A and just, I don't know what it is, like Kryptonite Superman.
He acts different.
He does.
Know.
He makes different decisions. I thought that was going to change. If I'm being completely honest, I thought it was going to change when Nick left.
Yeah.
When Saban left.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
It hasn't.
It's still. It's like the the ghost in the corner.
It's the ghost in the corner, and the truth of the matter is he is the greatest active serving coach right now, I believe. But you just see it in his decision plays and his calling.
It's in the psyche, man.
It's in psyche.
Yeah, there you go. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to come in, man.
Pleasure, man.
It's such a fun conversation. Daniel, of course, thanks for allowing us to sit down here on Extra 106.3 with Scott. And for Daniel, I'm Tug.